Hey, how's it going, you guys? Petplatypus here, and welcome to Avatar Month. To celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Avatar The Last Airbender series, I'll be making several videos throughout the month of June talking about the series, season by season, comic by comic. This is Book 1, Water, of the original Avatar The Last Airbender series. And this is where it all started. It's not a particularly interesting book to talk about in terms of the content itself, so I'll kind of just talk about what I feel about the overall series as a whole. I'm not going to explain every single detail of the series. I'm assuming you've seen it. These videos will contain spoilers and in-depth summaries of certain things here and there. I know I just said I wasn't going to do in-depth summaries, but it's whatever, case by case. The setup for Avatar, though, the idea that there are people who can bend elements, air, earth, water, fire, and as we see in later seasons, different variations on those elements. Very cool. Very simple, but very cool. It's taught very well. It isn't just like, oh, I'm born with this power and I train it. It's, well, you train water bending like this, and you train air bending like that, and you train fire bending like this, and earth bending like that. They all have different approaches. They all have different philosophies. And they all have different forms of martial arts to go with them. Real martial arts, which I think is awesome. The setup with the 100-Year War and how Aang was not there for all of it, and he lost all of his people. Just great setup, great baggage to give the character, great sense of responsibility, the comet coming and everything, having to master all the elements by Summer's End. Great pressure, great setup for a good adventure that's not going to last too long, but isn't going to be too short either. Fascinating villain with Zuko, played expertly by Dante Bosco. One of the few actors whose names I know from the series. I think actually Katara is also voiced by Mae Whitman, I believe, but at least I think that's her name. But I don't know all the voice actors' names. But yeah, he plays Zuko great. It's a great villain who is also a mere reflection of our main character Aang, the Avatar. Just great dynamic between the two. Great similarities between them as well. My phone just made noises. Ignore that. Also for characters, we have Sokka. He's a good comedic relief character, but he also has depth to him. You see him when his dad leaves to go fight the Fire Nation, and he wants to go, and he's all ready, and his dad's like, no, you gotta stay here, you're too young, and he carries that burden with him of wanting to meet his father, and he's a good comedic relief character with some depth. Unlike, ironically, my favorite character from The Legend of Korra, Bolin, who is purely comedic relief with no real underlining depth to his character at all. I'll talk more about that when I get to The Legend of Korra, but just to compare, he's like a diet Sokka, to be honest. And I love Sokka's role as the idea guy. I like all the characters playing their own key roles, even though Aang learns all the elements eventually. Katara's the better waterbender, and Toph's the better earthbender. But that's overall thoughts of the series. For Book 1, it's got some boring episodes, I'm not going to lie. The episode when they go to, like, Kyoshi Island, and Aang is, like, letting all the fame go to his head that he's the Avatar. Standard kids show plot. The episode where they have the Great Divide, which most people don't like this episode. Again, very standard kids show plot. Two people don't like each other. One's neat, one's dirty. One of the bad new episodes of SpongeBob did the same thing. It's just, no. No one likes the Great Divide, including me. It's not a fan of that episode. What was another episode that kind of felt a little bit off in the first season? The fortune teller one's kind of it's alright. Some cool bending, the volcano and everything. But nothing can take away from the fact that this show is very good at what it does. It just, in terms of being a kid's show that teaches lessons and everything, but it's able to do it very smartly, because that's the thing. I'm kind of nitpicking when I say, he lets all the fame go to his head. It's still character development. You're still introduced to characters that come back later. It's still smartly written. It's just not as interesting from a viewer's perspective as things that happen later in the series, especially in seasons 2 and 3. But great finale, The Siege of the North Part 1 and Part 2, and I forget what the episode, Waterbending Master, I think, is what it's called. I'm not sure, the one right before the finale, where all the characters get introduced and everything. that's like a practically a three-parter to me, and it's just fantastic. I haven't mentioned Uncle Iroh too much because I want he gets better later, but he is impeccable to say the least. Um, but yeah, he's a great character. I'll talk about him more in seasons 2 and 3 where he's more relevant. Um, but yeah, and I also like, especially one of my favorite episodes of this season is The Storm, where you get the backstory for Aang and Zuko and how I mentioned before, how they reflect each other, redemption and responsibility and just themes of the characters. Very cool. That was like the episode that was like, holy shit, this could be something big. Sneaking in little characters, little references to the library and Ba Sing Se and Azula. They clearly had things planned out. There's clearly a story here. Unlike Korra. Don't mean to rag on Legend of Korra too much, but, you know, just for comparison. And, yeah, it's just, it's a good season. I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I liked the episode with the Freedom Fighters because I liked how it was not. It was the first episode that really showed us that not everything is black and white. Fire Nation evil, Earth Kingdom good, Water Nation good. You know, there were some people from the Earth Kingdom, like Jet and the Freedom Fighters, that were going to take things way too far, and they were not good people. And it's just a really cool balance. And you see Fire Nation, you know, people who aren't bad. They're just normal people, just happen to be Fire Nation. Great balance. The show is never black and white. It's always very, very balanced. There's assholes on both sides. I love that. And, yeah, just a really smart cartoon. A very good anime in its own right. And, yeah, just, it's an okay start to what's going to become an amazing series. I probably, yeah, like I said, probably like a 7.5 to a 7.8. I think it's definitely a good season. Slightly above good. It's got beautiful animation. It's got good pacing. A tad slow, especially compared to seasons 2 and 3. Obviously, I think very highly of seasons 2 and 3, and you'll see why when I review them. But yeah, really not a lot to say about Book 1. It is boring in some spots. Oh, that was the other episode that I was trying to think of. When Katara gets jealous that Aang learns waterbending faster than her. It's, you know, it's kind of like that, yeah, we know she's going to learn her lesson at the end. It's a little bit, you know, whatever, cliche. Not too bad, though. Again, introduced characters, introduced, you know, progressed the waterbending teachings. You know, that's great and all. But yeah, probably like a 7.8. It's a good season. It's a good start. It definitely is pretty, you know, awesome. I mean, there's just better anime that I've seen, you know, better stories and everything. The story really doesn't pick up until the second and third season. Mainly the second season, obviously, is where it picks up and continues through to the very end of the third. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. This is Avatar month. Next I'm going to be doing Book 2 Earth, and then Book 3 Fire, and so on throughout the comics and the Legend of Korra, and a couple other little videos here and there. So, yeah, tell me what you guys think of Avatar month. I love the series, and I can't wait to talk about more of it. I've never read the comics, so it's going to be very fun to go through those for the first time. And, yeah, that's really all I have to say. So a 7.8, I think it's a slightly above good season of Avatar The Last Airbender, and it's a good start to the series. So, thanks for watching this video. Tell me what you guys think of Avatar The Last Airbender, Book 1, Water, in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram. Rate this video if you would please. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you've liked what you've seen. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.